You paid $2,000 for a TV. The picture looks incredible. The dialogue sounds like it's coming through a tin can. You probably think a premium TV means premium sound. It doesn't. The screen and the speaker are two completely separate businesses inside the same box, and the manufacturer only optimized one of them. Here's the part nobody tells you. The setting responsible for that muffled, flat, hard-to-follow dialogue isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. It was just designed for a different goal than you understanding what people are saying. Somewhere in your TV's audio menu, there's a setting called Auto. It sounds like the smart choice. It's actually the compatibility choice, and those are not the same thing. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which setting that is, why it exists, and how to switch it, legally, safely, using a feature your TV already has. Let's talk about how sound actually gets from a movie studio to your living room. When a film is mixed, it's mixed in surround, usually 5.1, sometimes Dolby Atmos with height channels. That mix is built so dialogue sits in its own dedicated center channel, separate from music and explosions. That's the whole trick of good movie sound. Dialogue isn't fighting the score for space. It has its own lane, but your TV has to receive that complex multi-channel signal and decide what to do with it. And most TVs, even flagship ones, ship with the audio output setting factory set to auto, which sounds smart but isn't always the best answer. Here's what auto actually does on most sets. It tries to guess what your speaker setup can handle. Then, when in doubt, it takes that rich multi-channel mix and downmixes it, folds all those channels into a simple 2-channel stereo signal. When that happens, the dedicated center channel, the one built specifically to carry dialogue, gets blended in with music and effects instead of standing on its own. This is exactly why movies sound flat and dialogue gets lost in the background mix. The content was originally mixed in surround, but the TV strips it down to stereo before it ever leaves the box. It gets worse if you're using a soundbar or receiver. Then, if your TV sends a signal your soundbar doesn't handle well, it can cause improper decoding of formats like Dolby Digital or DTS, resulting in muffled dialogue or weak bass, all because one setting needs to be toggled. And this isn't a cheap TV problem. It's an engineering priorities problem. Manufacturers set the default to whatever fails the least often across the widest range of TVs, soundbars, and cable boxes sold worldwide. That default has to work with a 10-year-old soundbar and a brand new receiver at the same time. Reliable for everyone and best for your specific setup are two different targets. Your TV was built for the first one. You're allowed to build for the second. Here's the part that changes everything, and it costs you nothing. Your TV already has the tool to fix this. It's not a hack. It's not a workaround. It's a menu option the manufacturer put there on purpose. For exactly this reason, you just weren't told it existed. It's usually labeled one of three things depending on the brand. Passthrough on LG and Sony, Bitstream on Samsung, or on some sets simply PCM. These aren't secret settings. They're documented, standard, built-in options sitting right next to Auto in the same menu. Here's the logic. In plain terms, Passthrough Bitstream tells your TV, don't touch this audio. Send the full original multi-channel signal straight to my soundbar or receiver, untouched, and let that device do the decoding. Your soundbar's dedicated Dolby Digital decoder and Atmos engine are sitting there fully capable. They just need a complete signal to actually work with. PCM does the opposite, and it has its own use case. It tells the TV, you decode it, then hand me something simple and universally compatible. If you're on a basic soundbar or just want the most reliable connection with the least troubleshooting, PCM is often the least troublesome option. If you're on a surround-capable soundbar or receiver, Bitstream or Passthrough usually makes more sense. Because in that setup, the external device handles the decoding. Neither one is a trick against the manufacturer. You're not bypassing anything, unlocking anything, or breaking any terms of service. You're choosing between two settings the company put in the box for you to choose between. This is the equivalent of a restaurant with a full secret menu that's printed right there on page 3. You just never turned the page. Here's exactly how to do this tonight in about 2 minutes. Step 1. Go into your TV's settings menu and find Sound. Then look for Digital Audio Out, Audio Output Format, or HDMI Audio. Look for settings labeled Auto, Pass-Through, or Digital Audio Out. The exact wording depends on your brand. Step 2. Check what it's currently set to. If it says Auto, that's your factory default. Doing the guessing, we just talked about Step 3 if you use a Soundbar AV receiver. Switch it to Bitstream or Passthrough. Then, the change takes about 30 seconds and requires no technical knowledge. You're simply telling the TV to pass the original surround signal through untouched instead of stripping it down first. Step 4. If you only use your TV's built-in speakers, or a very basic 2-speaker soundbar, leave it on PCM. Your internal speakers can't reproduce true surround channels anyway, so PCM keeps things clean and avoids sync issues. When multiple users troubleshooting lip sync problems found switching from auto to a fixed pass-through or PCM setting resolved the delay entirely. Step 5. Play a scene you know well, something with clear dialogue, music, and effects together. Apply one change at a time and keep whichever configuration sounds most natural. One honest caveat, because a good expert tells you the trade-off too. Switching output formats can occasionally introduce a small lip sync delay on certain TV and soundbar pairings, especially over older HDMI ARC connections. If that happens, then your TV's audio delay or AV sync setting exists specifically to nudge that back into alignment. It's a 5-second fix, not a deal breaker. That's it. No firmware hacks, no unofficial apps, no jailbreaking anything. Then, just reading the menu your TV manufacturer already gave you and picking the option built for your actual setup instead of the option built for the average setup. For technical accuracy, then exact menu wording varies by TV and soundbar brand. Check your specific manufacturer's support page if you can't locate the setting. Companies aren't hiding this from you maliciously. They're just optimizing for the widest possible audience, and you are not the average of everyone. You're one specific person with one specific TV and one specific soundbars sitting in one specific room. Then, knowing that difference and knowing you're allowed to adjust for it is most of what understanding how things work actually means. If you found this useful, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.